Then you're listening and watching another Scoutcast on www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Granville.
My name's Jonty.
I changed up the intro then, got it completely wrong, fluffed it. See, when I don't say the same line, I get it wrong, don't I? So I'll just stick to what I know. Good evening, welcome to the Scoutcast, to the listener. Sorry about last week. We had a technical problem with YouTube, which didn't upload the movie, and then all kinds of shenanigans meant we couldn't do the audio cast. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all is well this week. We'll probably know in about 10 seconds' time. We're going to talk about our game weeks as usual. It's going to be, I know, Granville has got a very, very sad tale to tell. Probably his worst transfers ever. He's going to go on about that a lot tonight. You're going to hear it. Yeah, I mean, I do feel sorry for him, but more on that in a moment. Rough for the smooth, we'll see if any of the community members have got an even worse tale to tell. I doubt it, really. And then we've got a lot of questions coming. We've got a lot of questions about Leicester, about Everton, about Ozil, about goalkeepers, about Man United assets, Liverpool defenders, lots to cover. I know that I've got some stats to roll out. I'm sure Jonty has too. But first, our game weeks, and we've got to start with Granville. Granville, how are you feeling?
Pretty devastated, actually. I've been doing all right this season. You notice that. But you know, one bad week comes along, and I think I've kind of gone back about 4 game weeks now. I had 9 greens in a row, and this was a massive red, absolutely ginormous red. Got 42 points, -4.
And I mean, what is it that went wrong? It was all about the transfers, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, you can look at Coutinho, who obviously scored 2 goals, and you know, the transfer out for KDB wasn't the best, but I don't think I'd have played him anyway. That's the first thing, and the other one was Mahrez. And you know, last week when I was talking about my transfers, I was pretty sure I was going to do KDB in for Coutinho, and then the other one I was going to do Ozil out for Lukaku or Kane. And I didn't do him, and it's really cost me. No,
but is it? I mean, I'm going to harp on about Martial again, because I do think that he's a problem for you, and we're going to talk about him because listeners have brought it up. But I mean, was it Ozil you were going to get rid of then?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the cheaper option, so.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just. The thing is, I mean, the reason why I didn't do it is because they got good fixtures, and they're playing Stoke at home, and they had all the possession. They had about 12 shots or something, so they could easily have scored. It could be, you know, it'd be a different podcast altogether. But there you go. It wasn't just that. I mean, my other transfer obviously was like selling Mahrez, and the reason for that was I just felt that I needed Southampton cover, and I didn't want to. In the end, I didn't want to change any of my strikers, so I thought, well, I had to get Mane. It was one of the things I was looking at all week. It was an option, and you know, I think I fell for it. But who can tell? I mean, like next week, Southampton got a good fixture, so I might be able to make
were you not? I mean, we've got a question on Leicester coming up. I mean, were you not? I mean, we've talked about it on the Scoutcast for a couple of weeks, and you were citing Mahrez as the one that you were going to bench. I just didn't see you selling him. I mean, did you hesitate about it?
Oh yeah. It was him. It was either him or Ozil, and I looked at it next week. And I thought, well, Leicester's fixtures aren't quite as good as Southampton's, and they're not as good as Newcastle's. I know they've got Watford next week, but Watford are a stubborn side. But then again, you know, they scored 3 goals at West Brom, who had the best defence the most clean sheets in the league. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I'm not that concerned about not having Mahrez because I've got Vardy. That's the way I can look at it. But yeah, if you have both, then you're totally relying on Leicester turning up, which they have been doing, granted, for the last 11 weeks. But my thinking behind it was that at some point it's going to end, and they not at the minute, and they did it a week too early. But maybe next week, who knows?
Jonty, were you surprised when you saw Granville's transfer?
I couldn't believe it with the Mahrez out, but I think he was right with the Coutinho one. Coutinho is just one of those very frustrating players to own that is going to get one of those huge hauls every 10, 12 weeks.
Can I just say, actually, one thing I did mention is that I would have benched Mahrez anyway. So that was, I could have benched Ayoze, but he was playing at home against Stoke, and I just felt that that Mahrez. I mean, you made the same decisions as well.
Yeah, I think benching Mahrez is totally understandable, and it's the work of genius, to be honest, benching Mahrez this week. But yeah, I mean that's fair enough, Granville. I mean, and Coutinho, I just think, well, he's never scored a brace for Liverpool, and he does it the week you get rid of him, and you held him for 3 or 4 weeks, didn't you?
It's like heart in the mouth, you know. And you see, I saw the ball coming to him, and I thought, I've seen this. Like I've owned him for like 5 weeks, I think, and I've seen him have the ball in that position so many times over the last few weeks, and him not actually producing. He did get a couple of assists the first game I got him, but after that it was absolutely nothing. And when I saw him, he got hauled off, didn't he, in the last game? He was really ineffective, and that just made up my mind, because there was no one else who I wanted to get rid of in the midfield really as much as Coutinho.
Jonty, at this point, I guess you're going to roll out goals imminent table.
I am, yeah. We've had a request as well from the YouTube chat as well from Nikhil Patel. Because my goals imminent table going into game week 11, Coutinho was second, Pella was third, and Igalo was in there as well. So this is, I mean, it was a huge week for that table. With the goals imminent table, this is minimum of 10 goal attempts with no more than 1 goal over 4 game weeks. So these are people who are getting there almost, but there's something deficient going on. Either they're not being accurate, or just something like that. With Coutinho, it's just he shoots from outside the box, so they're obviously not always going to go in. But he went off in style. Igalo obviously went off in style there, and Pella scored as well. You know, that was coming. I mean, do you want to know who's coming up for game week 12?
Why not roll them out? I mean,
well, so following that success, I think people might be having a look at this now. So, well, he scored tonight. Rooney in at number 2, 11 goal attempts, 5 on target over the last 4. So not great, but that's pretty much similar to Coutinho. So, you know,
how many in the box?
Only 3 shots in the box over 4 matches. So that's not great. Gomez is the one that intrigues me. He's up against Norwich, I believe. So he's got 8 shots inside the box. But top of them is one I mentioned before, Barkley. I mean, he was probably the only Everton player not to get points.
Yeah, he came out of that 6 goals, nothing for him.
Nothing. I think, you know, against West Ham, he's top of here. So, you know, can he do a Coutinho again? So yeah, but. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to mask the fact that I didn't have such a great game week.
No, so I mean,
well, this is a good thing, really, because no one in the Scoutcast had a good game week. Not compared to, well, we all got red arrows.
Yeah, absolutely. 59 points here, 56 for Joe, and a miserable game week for you of 42 points, Graham. So the gap now is down to 35 points. So. Yeah, there you go. It's game on. I mean, it was just a shocker for most people, apart from a certain person at the top of the Contributors League, Jonty.
Yeah, Andy, he's done it again. He was waiting. He's one of the many people, and we're going to come to another person in our Rough with the Smooth who was waiting for a Kane goal quite patiently. But Andy had captained him, and sure enough, Kane scored and got 2 bonus in the 93rd minute of the very final minute of the game week. And Andy is now in the top 100. And at 1 point,
in the world. Now, we talked about it last week, and we're going to talk about it every week while he's in the top 100. Chances of winning it, I would say, what odds would you give him? I would say 32 to 1, around that. I think he's got a good chance.
33 to 1 more like.
Well, I think, you know, with the experience he's got, and he doesn't listen to a word we say, so that's going to help him.
No.
I think he's in a good position, and he just seems to be making the right moves.
He benched
That's what it is. That's what it's all about.
He benched Igalo. You're right, Jonty. He did.
Benched Igalo this week. I was looking back at his history. I was thinking, what is he doing? And he was actually doing quite normal things. He was captaining Aguero. He did this very odd week where he captained Rondon from West Brom.
Right. And he got away with that. He
got away with it. It's just.
But actually, when I looked at his Aguero captaincies, I think he's only captained him a couple of times, and one of them was for the 50-pointer. So I think he's been quite efficient with Aguero as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the case.
The thing is, I think a lot of it. I mean, I've said this to him before, and Zalapa says your FPL season is dependent on Leicester, He went full in Leicester first game week of the season. I thought, oh, he's a nutter. Ranieri, like a maverick manager, he's gonna let you down. But it hasn't finished. It's like 11 game weeks in, and they're still scoring goals.
Well, we're going to move on to the Leicester players in the questions, and I've got a few new names to bring up in that as well. John T, do you want to do rough or the smooth? First of all, Martin Driver has got an idea for renaming this.
Yes, he wants to rename it Granny's Transfer Howlers with the smooth. So
that's not really fair, is it? It's only in 1 week.
With the rough.
It's not going to be every week.
And he wants to remind us, Granville in particular, about how he sold Yossi Benayoun just before his hat-trick against Burnley in 2009. Martin Driver's really paying close attention.
I was hugely impressed by that.
Well, that's only because I bring it up every year, at least once.
Right.
And we named that Scoutcast. Remember, we named it Benayoun.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was about Scoutcast number 30.
That was impressive from Marspin Drive. I was massively impressed.
So,
but still, that transfer is still dwarfed by Doustra's one from last week, a couple of weeks ago with Aguero out.
Hey, Doustra's coming up in the smooth.
Yeah, he's coming up. But let's get some Granny's Transfer Howlers out the way first, because this will make us feel slightly better. Mara's benchers and sellers. That's the key. That's what I've lumped it up with. So, Jaffalicious, or Jaffalito, who's known as here, he's sold Igalo and bench Mahrez, so double whammy there. Alexis Sanchez, he bench Mahrez, plus he had Kolarov, who missed a penalty, and I'm not missing him, by the way.
Yeah, I knew you'd bring that up.
And I'm also not going to get Marshall in as well. I'll just put that one in as well. So, and anyway, he captained Sterling for a whole 2 points there, and he dropped 100,000 in the rankings. Veraswamy.
This is my favourite. It's a shocker.
Yeah, he took an 8-point hit to take Mahrez out, Vardy out, and Diego Costa out. Fair enough.
Vardy out? Didn't
and because he did all of that, he then benched Igalo. So I think that's a step above.
Oh dear!
It's like a triple whammy there of pain. He did get Kane in and captain him, so slightly.
Do you think I've done the right thing? I mean, like, if you were going to go for one Leicester, which of the two would you go for? Which would you keep?
I wouldn't. I want two.
No, that's your question. Answer it.
There isn't the one. That's like saying, which arm do I want to sever?
Well, I'd sever my left arm.
Yeah, I'd go my left arm. I would probably. I don't know. Though Mahrez is on penalties. It's just so close, isn't it?
Is he? Is he?
Yeah, he is. If Joe's not playing, then Mahrez takes pen. So
hang on, but he hasn't taken a pen when Vardy's been on the field, and Vardy obviously got them when Mahrez was out.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're not 100% sure about that.
No, I suppose Vardy with the golden boot might get them, but personally, I'm with John T. I'd keep them both, no matter who they're playing, because we'll look at their stats in a moment.
Avoiding the question.
Well, I would have gone Mahrez, yes. But it's like John T.
I mean, you proved it by playing Vardy over Mahrez.
Well, yes.
There's a proof is in the pudding, really.
Yeah, well, it was away for a moment. I thought Mahrez, every chance he could get, maybe not bench, but he might get his minutes cut at least. So, away from home, Mahrez is a bit dicey, whereas Vardy's definitely going to start and play 90. At home, though, you want you've got to be worried about not having Mahrez next week at home to Watford. Surely, you're not.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've got 5. I'm playing 3-5-2. So I'm not playing. I'm going to bench Newcastle Ioze. Okay. But I've got. So there was no one. Honestly, there's no one. If you want AE, you've got a choice between AE, Payet, and if you're going to have KDB and Sanchez, then there's sort of 4 or 5 midfielders, and you can only have 2 of those, 3 of those.
Well, I'll tell you what, John. Should we get on to Leicester? Because there's various questions. I
just wanted to. Can I mention a couple of smooths though?
Oh yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to miss these out because these are going to make us feel really bad. So Teddy, he benched Mahrez, and we've had him in before on these things. He always benches someone, and they always come on. And sure enough, Lens he played. Didn't make it. So Mahrez comes off, full 15 points off the bench. Done it again.
I can't believe how lucky he is with that.
Oh, come on, Mark.
Look, I don't get them very often.
Hang on. Last season, you had loads of those.
It's always last season. It's like, oh.
I know, but don't say it never happens to you because
Teddy gets them every week.
Doesn't happen to me. That's that.
Oh, worries me.
This I've got a real smooth operator here, Wild Rover here. So now Wild Rover is doing ever so well in the Ultimate Fantasy Premier League game, which is slightly more complicated rules, but you can make loans and in game week play. He got the he was waiting for Kane goal. He captained Kane. Kane scored. That meant that he got the top score in October, and he promptly won £1,000.
Excellent.
He can win money at this. He can win money,
Yeah.
and he's fourth in the world as well.
He's fourth in the world, so he could go on and win the whole thing. And I had a look at his squad because my ultimate squad is got more red flags than Bolshevik Rally in 1917. It's absolutely horrendous. But he's fine. He's absolutely fine. He's made some really good loans and he's making the right moves. So good on him.
I had a look actually. We've got second, third, and fourth in the world in the ultimate game. So odds on looks like one of the scout guys has got a chance of really being up there for I think it's 25 grand, isn't it? I'm 129 in the world. It's kind of been it's been my kind of side project, which is now rapidly taking over from FBL because I'm obviously not doing too well in FBL. So. But I'm still miles behind those guys. So well played, Wild Rover.
And the very final one, Doozer, we mentioned him before. He famously got rid of Aguero and Sterling before their multiple goals. He had a slight reprieve this week. He got rid of Cook, Walcott, Sacco. None of them played, and he got in Kane for captain, Yaya Toure, and Toby Alderweireld from Spurs, I think. A minor reprieve from his terrible recent run.
Yeah, well, I'm almost making up for his previous transfers. He's a very brave man with his transfers, so it's going to come off sometimes, and it's good to see it did. John T, we've got some community questions, as I mentioned, and Leicester comes up. So this is a nice segue on to what Granville was talking about, wasn't it? I mean, who thought this up? 3 or 4 people, in fact.
So we've got a few here. So Andy85, he's one of our contributors and moderators. Why are people so quick to get rid of Mahrez and Vardy, who are scoring points?
Why Granville? Why?
But also, I'll just mention another one as well, so we can. Link in with it as well. KTK Interesta asks, when in doubt, who would you rather bench, Vardy and Mahrez? That goes back to which arm would like to sever.
Yeah.
And also he asks, are Leicester's next 6 fixtures really that bad? Are we overestimating Chelsea as being a hard game now? Are they really that bad? So.
Well, let's look at them. So I've got some stats to roll out, so we're gonna have a drum roll in a minute. But Leicester, so they're Watford at home Saturday, Newcastle away, Man United at home, Swansea, Chelsea at home, Everton. On paper they're tough games, but the thing is, Leicester's attack at the moment is just ridiculous. I've looked at the numbers. So last 4 game weeks they're out on top, 68 goal attempts.
Yeah.
Clear ahead of Man City, ahead of West Ham, Arsenal, and Spurs. So you've got to think that Ranieri's not going to change that, is he? Granville. You've got to be worried having just one. And what? You really think there's going to be a regression in their goal output, then, do you?
What do you think they're going to finish in the top 4?
Well, that's going beyond the next 6, isn't it? I think
when does the regression happen? I remember last season we were talking about Southampton. Oh, they're going to finish. Are they going to get into the top 4? And in the end, they didn't. They just fell away. And I know it's probably later. It was after Christmas, but they did fall away quite dramatically. I don't think Leicester got a good enough defence for a start. But obviously, that's not going to affect us if we've got attackers. I think Vardy looks fantastic, absolutely amazing. I was just looking at him, just thinking United could do with a player like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying they're going to be in the top 4 because you're right. Defensively, they're not going to do it. But are their goals going to dry up? That's the thing. They need I think the only way it's going to dry up is if they get an injury. Because if they lose Mahrez or Vardy, then it's going to be a problem. But those two just seem so key. I think you've made an error getting rid. I think. Did you lose any money on him, on Mahrez?
Did I lose any money?
As in, did you buy him early and?
I bought him. I bought him about 5 weeks ago.
Right.
So I didn't buy him right at the beginning.
Right.
I bought him about game week 4, I think. Game week 3, I think it was. It was a wild card, I think. I think that's when I got him. Well, I guess I am now because he scored 2, but we'll have to see. I think I'm quite confident with my team this week, just because I haven't got Mahrez. I've got someone. I mean, who are you going to bench? You're going to have to bench Ayew, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I am, but away from home, Swansea aren't what Leicester are away from home. I mean, I made the mistake of playing Ayew at home to Arsenal, thinking that Arsenal with a few injuries and Swansea beat them last year. I thought Mahrez might get benched or lose some pitch time, so I made the wrong decision. But I'm not doing that again. I mean, I just think at home you've got to play your 2 Leicester players.
I mean, the thing, yeah, you do, or away. But I mean, I benched Ayew last week, didn't I, against away to Villa, and he scored. So I don't think it makes much. I think against Norwich give away a lot of chances. I know they played okay against City, but I think it's a prime fixture. I'd be a bit worried if I was going to bench him.
What about you, John? I mean, you're holding both of them. You're obviously playing both. We're going to get to 5-man midfield in a moment, but does that give you a problem?
No, I'm guided by a great article that came out on the website today from Jose's Magic Omelette, the wonderful writer. He's got all sorts of charts involving bubbles and all these types of things. But I urge people to have a look at it. He's basically saying, are Vardy and Mahrez season keepers? He's being a bit overboard there, but nevertheless, what he's saying is that Vardy and Mahrez are not overperforming. What they're not doing, for example, like Martial did or Yaya Toure did, where they basically got an unsustainable kind of shot accuracy ratio where they're scoring with every shot. They're not at all. They're hovering about 40-50%, which is about right, really. So there doesn't seem to be any regression as well there. They're just completely maintaining their fine form. So I've learned a lesson this week by benching Mahrez. I'm not going to do that again. He's just not until he shows me he needs to be benched and doesn't score for a couple of weeks. So and the same goes for Vardy as well. As Granville said, and it was the main reason I got him in. You look at him, wow, he just looks unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with benching Mahrez, obviously Granville sold him, we both benched him. That was a difference between a very average game week and a pretty good one. It was just as simple as that. And when we talk about 5-man midfields later, you are going to be given these problems, but I just think Mahrez at the moment, because Leicester conceding goals, so they've got to score goals, and if they're scoring goals, it's all about Vardy and Mahrez. So I just think it's very difficult. Let's get on to another team, very different problem. Man United, it's nothing about scoring goals. They just can't do it at all, can they, at the moment?
They looked. I watched the game tonight, and they started off really, really well. In fact, the whole of the first half, they were looking good, quite penetrating, attacking the opponent's fullbacks, which they haven't been doing, and playing Martial in the middle, and it looked a lot better. But I don't know. I think they started getting really tetchy. Like when they didn't score earlier on. And it came to the second half, and the crowd was getting on the back a little bit. I think it really affected them. I mean, the goal was a good goal, but they were knocking on the door for quite a while. It's just that you always felt that, hang on, are they ever going to score? Hopefully that'll open the floodgates now and they'll score, but it is West Brom after all.
Yeah, I mean, this is it.
We know exactly how they're going to play. It's just been able to open them up. I think he's just got to shift it round. I mean, Mata's been just awful the last few weeks. It's not just, Rooney's been getting a lot of the stick, but Mata, he's a big purchase he was, and he just maybe he needs to be playing down the middle. But we've got 3 players who can play in that position: Rooney, Herrera, and Mata, and only one of them can play there.
Well, we've got questions on this, and Mata, Coutinho brings up the issue, what about Mata? Andy 85 at WSM again brings up Martial. If we talk about it every week, and we're going to talk about Martial every week until Granville finally concedes he's going to get rid of him. There's another question on Darmian, isn't there, Jonty, as well?
Yeah, so it's, Escucci asks, is it worth keeping Darmian? I mean, personally, I'm probably going to get rid of Darmian unless there's injuries this week.
Because you've both got him, haven't you?
Yeah, I think he's I think there was 2. Manchester United have a fantastic defence at the moment, and it's great having a Manchester United defender. And I've got some really good points out of Darmian since I've had him. But I think he is a rotation threat. I think from Ashley Young and Valencia. So for the moment, I think I can just see it. Easy game. He's not going to get picked. So I'm looking at others.
No, I think you're absolutely right about Darmian, and the trouble with Darmian is he's a good defender, but he doesn't get forward enough. Yeah, he's just not putting in the crosses, and that's why I think Valencia was given the nod the other week. He obviously got injured straight after, but it's the same on the other side as well. And I think Rojo was given the instructions this tonight to bomb forward, and he did. I hadn't seen that at all. I mean, I looked at the amount of. United obviously have been creating many chances at all the last few weeks, but crosses were abysmal. I mean, crosses from the fullbacks, I checked, in the last 4 weeks he only had 2 successful crosses, which is, it's by clearing away the worst out of all the teams in the league.
Well, we've got stats on goal attempts. I mean, Jonty, on Man United.
Yeah, I mean, well, you mentioned Leicester's 68 over the last 4 game weeks. Right at the bottom of the table, Manchester United 30. That's less than half of what Leicester are putting away. To put that in perspective, actually, it's less than half of what Tottenham, West Ham, Arsenal, Man City are putting away.
I mean, this is it. Martial can't get, even if you play Martial down the middle, he's not going to get goals unless they create chances, and they're just not doing that at the moment. And that, I mean, Granville, do you think that change is going to be a change of philosophy for Louis van Gaal, or do you think that it's just players out of form?
Which, there's a few things. I said that the fullbacks are a big problem. Rooney is a big problem. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen now because Rooney played at number 10. Well, he sort of played a 4-4-2, I think, but he was all over the place, Rooney. But he scored. He took Martial off actually. With it's about 20 minutes to go, and put on Fellaini. Went route 1, and obviously Rooney got the goal. I think it looked a lot better with Rooney withdrawn a little bit. He has to play, and if he's going to play, he has to play number 10 or even out wide. He puts in a good ball. I don't see why he shouldn't play on the right and play Mata in the middle. But it's dicking about, really. That's the thing, this time of the season, you should have, the team should be in a lot better nick than they are.
Yeah, I think
it's taking risks, like just go, swapping things about. We should have things sorted by now. Depay is another one. He actually came on and looked pretty rubbish again.
He's been a major disappointment.
He's been carrying an injury. They played Lingard today on the left. He didn't look ready. Didn't look ready for that.
I mean, the thing is, Depay came in as leading scorer from the Dutch league, wasn't he? I think it was 17 goals. I mean, you kind of think that you're going to want more from him. That hasn't worked.
He's done it right in Europe, though. He's made some key contributions. So I still have hope for him. I still think he'll be a good player. We've got and the thing he played on the other side, Ashley Young. So we got. I think it's about getting wide and getting crosses in, just kind of and attacking those fullbacks. I think the more they can do that against West Brom. I think it's just trying to play through the middle against West Brom. Probably not a good idea.
The thing is, West Brom know how to defend away from home. They may be shaky at the Hawthorns, but it's going to be a difficult game. And then United go to Watford, who've kept 4 clean sheets in 6 at home. So it's not going to be easy to snap out of it. John T, next question. What have we got coming up here?
Well, this is quite timely, actually, because we just talked about Darmian. Liverpool defenders, Escucci, back again with another question. Are they worth investment? I say yes. Moreno is the one I've got my eye on. 4.8, I believe, now. Liverpool have got a quite good set of fixtures coming up as well, particularly for defensive returns. They've got Swansea at home, Newcastle away, West Brom at home, Watford away, and, of course, Palace this weekend. I think that's a good set of fixtures there.
Again, I've got some stats for you here. I mean, you raised Moreno. I got him in a couple of weeks ago because, we thought about Klopp from fullbacks. He likes his fullbacks to get forward. Here's the evidence. So this is the 3 matches under Klopp. So in terms of passes received in the final third, no defenders received more in the final third than Klein. 50 passes received in the last 3 game weeks. In terms of touches in the final third, no one's had more than Moreno. So the Klein and Moreno are seeing more of the ball in the final third than most fullbacks in the league. And then you look at attempts, Moreno top of goal attempts for any defender in the last 3 game weeks. So basically Klopp's come in and they're playing as wingers. I watched it at the weekend and I, to be honest, I've got Moreno already. I've got him at 4.7. He's 4.8 now. I think that's a transfer, but I'm thinking about doubling up because they're more or less playing as 2 out-and-out wingers, and I don't know. They may not keep clean sheets, but I think at the moment the best source of differential is attacking defenders. I mean, you've got Van Dijk, Granville, so you've got a very good option there. You're not looking at Moreno.
No, because I'm looking at Bellerin. I think because the surety of clean sheets he gets from Arsenal at the minute just means that he doesn't have to, doesn't have to do anything else. I think with Moreno, he hasn't produced yet, even though he's got all these good stats. He may do eventually, but he hasn't done anything yet. He's just a bit hot-headed, There was a couple of times when he had chances and he blew it, and he's got the ball in the box. But I expect him to to get some attacking returns. I think Bellerin's going to get. I think he looks really good fullback. I think he does everything right. And, it is Arsenal after all. I think they're a better team than Liverpool.
Yeah, of course. Bellerin's top of the watch list, and he's certainly, if you can afford him or Koscielny, it's kind of tight at the moment after Koscielny getting the 2 goals. But I mean, John, you've got Bellerin, have you?
I've got Bellerin, and I'm really pleased you brought this up because I got Bellerin for Kolarov, the player that both of you said I'd regret selling. For those people who are doing Bellerin Kolarov watch, Bellerin's currently 10 points above Kolarov.
Is anyone doing Bellerin Kolarov watch?
I am.
By the way, Georgie, I never said you'd regret selling him at all because I sold him at the same time.
No, sorry, it wasn't you. It wasn't.
I think basically we were saying that you were regretting not having him because you got company in instead.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as you switched to Colorado, you blanked.
Yeah.
But that was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious at the weekend.
Unbelievable. I didn't know he missed the penalty. I went on the site and I saw Lolovov, and I thought, well, what's he done? Okay, so he didn't get a clean sheet. Why are people laughing at Kolarov? Didn't get a clean sheet. And then I looked at the BBC, and obviously it was an injury right at the end, wasn't it? And I was like, I don't believe it. That would have been so sweet had he got that. I would have tweeted Jonty if he'd have got that penalty, but.
I know, but he shouldn't. Why did they give him that penalty? What was all that about?
Torre off the pitch. Well,
was he off the pitch?
Torre was off, I think.
Okay, right. I thought he was on the pitch, and they just thought a bit of benevolence for.
No, I think Kolarov to Bellerin is the route I'm going to go as well. But I just think.
What, are you going to get rid of Kolarov?
I think eventually, because Clichy was on the bench tonight, and it's only a matter of time before the rotation starts, and then. I don't want a defender at 5'8" who's not.
I've got another player for you actually. Rojo, we mentioned him before. Do you think he's an option? I mean, he's quite cheap. I think
he's 5'4". I had a look at it. I don't know. I think Jones might even be a better bet. I don't know.
No, just don't go there. Honestly, just don't touch it. It's like having Everton. Yeah. Well, he's injured now, isn't he?
Well, I think he got injured in the red zone apparently, according to Van Gaal, but he's not injured. I don't know. So I mean. Jonty, you're going to get Moreno then, are you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it all depends. It depends on what happens with injuries. But yeah, I looked at you looked at some of the stats there. I just simply looked at the heat map, and he was so far. You mentioned about wing. He was a winger. Him and Klein was so far forward, and he's 4.8. That extra money, so I'm going to be saving about 0.7 or so, and that extra money will enable me to get Aguero back in. With either a hit or over 2 game weeks.
So you're determined to get straight back in on Aguero as early as
not necessarily in game week 13, but I have that option if I get a bit of cash from Darmian's sale to Moreno. But I think Moreno's a better bet than Darmian.
Okay, yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's only a matter of time before we see some returns. Next one, I think this is a subject I'd like to talk about in quite detail, isn't it, Jonty?
Yes, Lukaku. Now you've got Lukaku in one of your transfers.
Can I switch off? I'm so gutted about not getting him. That was the worst. That was worse than those points
I've tamed the troll that is Lukaku.
So Purple Cobras asked, should we forgive and forget Lukaku's reputation as a troll? Only 5 players have more points than him for the season overall, and he's shown this week that he can hit double figures in the easy games. So yeah, Mark, I mean, you would obviously.
The thing is, you can't predict it. I was watching the match and I was like, does he look interested? And I was getting a bit worried that he wasn't going to come out of it with anything. He got the early assist, but I thought, well, that's not enough. I want more from this. Then as Sunderland started to capitulate, I was like, oh dear, this is looking useful. And he took his goal well, didn't he? He went round, panted him on, and the assist for Kone's goal was just sublime. It was. I mean, I didn't think he was capable of something of that kind of, that cultured outside the foot. That is confidence. Now that would tell me that we're on to a good thing with Lukaku.
He told you that Everton were 5-2 up, I think.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Lukaku's a player that if he's off form or out of confidence, you can tell straight away. His first touch just goes. He's like Rooney in that respect, in that when Rooney's not on it, it's really obvious, and Lukaku was like that. And I just think at the moment that looked, the way he took the goal, the way he went round pented him on, and the way he set that goal up for Kone, I think West Ham are going to have a job containing him because they concede at home. So I think there's going to be a big bandwagon here because the fixtures are just fantastic. And we went into that game assisting or scoring 50% of Everton's goals, and he kept it up. It's 52.6 now. Every time Everton score, a good chance he's going to be involved. And yeah, they're right. I mean, not many players have outscored him, which is bizarre because he's done it on the quiet, almost crept up, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Monty, you tempted?
Yeah, I am. But this brings me to see. I have three strikers I like, and this brings to the next question.
This is a problem.
Leone asks, who do we sell for Lukaku? Now you sold Gomez for Lukaku. That's fine.
That was easy.
No problem. That's easy. That's an easy move. I mean, I personally got Pella and Vardy as well. I mean, do I really want to sell him? Do I really want to sell Bonnie before Aston Villa? And he mentioned Zagallo as well. Do we really want to be selling Zagallo? So I mean, Granville. I mean, you want Lukaku? Who are you going to dump to get him?
Well, I'm good, aren't I? Because I can sell. I'm obviously never.
Tony Marshall.
I'm never going to sell Marshall because it's creating a story on the podcast. No, I could sell Jose. I'm definitely going to sell him.
Basically, you've got an easy job. It's not.
Well, I have to get a defender actually in this week, and I'm just going to bench one of those strikers.
Right.
We'll see. Blimey. Now I've got a 5-man midfield, haven't I?
Yeah, I mean, I just think this is the irony as well, because we're talking about Aguero coming back, and here we are going, oh right, who are we going to sell to get Lukaku in? Yeah. It's going to be, we're going
to be scrambling to get Aguero in, because I think we're all going to have to sell De Bruyne, aren't we, to get him in? Yeah. Can you actually Can you have both and have a balanced team elsewhere? Is that
you saying you can afford Aguero soon, John T? Is that with KDB there as well?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, if I spare up a bit of cash, I can swap Mata and Bonnie for go back to having a fifth midfielder, a cheap one, 4.8. I think I can go up to. So that means I've got a bit of room to manoeuvre.
Roll out Houlihan again.
I mean, Jose's magic omelette. Him again. He asked, should we keep faith with Bonnie? So I mean, there's an option linked in really with Lukaku. I mean, obviously for Villa away, yes, and Bonnie scored tonight, and he got an assist if we were playing FPL in Villa. I would say keep the faith with him, but obviously when Aguero goes back, that's time to ditch, and there's your Aguero space. But it could be Lukaku space as well. I've got a couple of.
There is an option, I mean, there are now two other options that spoke about Barkley last week. But how about Delafeu and Kone?
Yeah, no.
Kone is 4.8. I mean, if he's going to be playing regularly, I think there's your third striker, and you can play 5 in the middle. Would you consider doing that?
Well, the thing is, it's like Agalu's seen as the budget choice, isn't he, up front, and quite rightly. I mean, remarkably, every time Watford score, he's either scored or assisted it. That is 100% involvement in all their goals this year when he's on the pitch, which is ridiculous. Even he's going up in price, but he's still cheap enough where he's your third striker. Kone, though, he's 57% of Everton's goals when he's on the pitch. He's had something to do with after Sunday. Obviously, that was a big help. But I don't know, though. I just think Kone he's always had fitness trouble. Lukaku's on penalties. I think Lukaku's the one. He's worth the extra outlay. And because Agalu's the option as a striker.
And believe it or not, Kone is the 5th highest scoring forward in the game.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So and he's got no ownership. I mean, what is his ownership? His ownership is 5.6%.
Yeah. I
think it's just the surety of starts, which you haven't generally got. I mean, he keeps getting hauled off. It's difficult to be. I mean, 20 points this week. He got a goal first game. I think his first week of the season, didn't he? He scored.
Yeah, and the thing is, Martinez loves him because he had him at Wigan, and so he's always got that in his favour. But I just think the injuries, it will catch up with him. Delafeu, I mean, Jonty, you're looking at him. He was impressive on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I personally, I don't really have much space in midfield, but I do think Barkley or Delafeu. I said last week I wanted to watch Everton a tiny bit more. I think Barkley's going to do something. So I'd like to have a look at that option. But no, I would like to have Lukaku. I mean, in terms of who to get rid of, going back to that question, I've got in one of my other members' tables on the site. There's a whole bunch of names in there who are doing ever so well. Harry Kane, Vardy, all of the usual suspects. Pella is nowhere to be seen. So he's actually not being very accurate. And Bonnie is actually on a par with Lukaku. Both had 6 shots on target in the last 4. But Bonnie's played 1 less match.
The thing is with Pella, he's very strong at home, so St Mary's back him. Away from home, he's yet to prove himself regularly, consistently. The other thing with Pella is you've got the Mane option in midfield, who, I've got both of them at the moment. I've doubled up. I'm doubling up on every team this year at least once.
Yeah.
So you've always got that way of covering Southampton's attacking promise. So Pella would be my choice to get if I had to get rid of one of those, Pella, Vardy, or Garlo, because you can cover Southampton if you really want to.
So, Mark, are you still? I mean, you've been avoiding Payet all season.
Yeah.
You talk about Mahrez. I know Mahrez is probably outscoring Payet. He might be now. It was close. Are you still going to avoid him? Are you still not? Because
I think that for me, I looked at his fixtures and thought, well, this could be a testing spell for him. He didn't do anything at Palace, at Watford rather. I thought that was a tough game.
Well, he did. He didn't score any points. Obviously, yeah. West Ham didn't score any goals, but he was involved.
Yeah, I know. But West Ham have had a remarkable start to the season. They won away games at City, Arsenal, and so on. They were never going to maintain that. So you were judging Payet off the back of that run, right? So my theory was West Ham are going to regress slightly. Payet is obviously in a class of his own in that team, but I'm hoping that West Ham have a slight slump. They've got Everton, Spurs, West Brom, Man United. Not easy. I don't think they're going to score an awful lot of goals in those fixtures. But then you look at the games where they've won in crazy places, so you can never tell. So I've taken a calculated risk and gone Mane over him because Mane, I thought, he's at Sunderland and then Stoke, and then he's got Villa at home in game week 15. I just think, I prefer Mane at the moment. I just think he's got more goals in him than Payet. I don't think you can argue that. Payet is an assist machine like KDB, like Ozil, but I'll at the moment I'll take. I noticed that Andy went Payet though. That worried me when I saw that transfer. I actually thought that was the first mistake he's made, going Payet over other players, because I think he was in late. But unlike me, he's probably gone, well, I'm going to admit my mistake and get him in. But you're a Payet owner, John, so you've got to be...
Yes, I was going to say, if you look at the stats and look at the goal attempts, well, this might surprise you. Payet's got more goal attempts the last 4 than Lukaku. So he's got 14 goal attempts there. Same shots on target as well, so he's as accurate.
I don't think there's any other. I don't think there's any other choice in West Ham team either.
No,
it's not like in Leicester, you got a couple of attackers, and Southampton a couple of attackers. I think West Ham is a man to have. Definitely Lanzini. I don't know whether he's going to be. I mean, is he going to be a regular?
Yeah, I think
he looks good.
Yeah, no, I think he is. But Payet is the choice. I've taken a calculated risk on it. A little slump, and that Mane will outscore him in the next 4. We'll see. Neither of them did anything on Saturday, so it's level at the moment. But we'll see. I mean, Mane at Sunderland, I quite fancy that. West Ham at home to Everton, Payet could come good. We'll see. We'll see what comes out. See what comes out of that. Another midfielder. A question on Ozil, John T.
Yeah, Hurricane asks: Is Ozil becoming an option we can't ignore? And then the soccer philosopher. Every dog has its day. I'm not sure if that's 2 people or he's just giving himself a description.
No, that's every dog has its day. Yeah.
He's saying is Ozil actually cover for Sanchez? So not just saying should we ignore him? Should we get him in instead?
This is what I was going to say. That could be the enabler for Aguero. I think there's 3 million difference, isn't there?
That's right. Yeah.
Ozil, Sanchez. Sanchez isn't quite. He's 4 points ahead. For 3 extra million, I don't think it's
surprising,
worth it.
Isn't it? And we've said before, Ozil's had double-figure returns in 3 of the last 4. Incredible rate of assists. I mean, he's got 9 for the season. And in that Arsenal side, he's just going to keep getting them, isn't he?
I think if you get Aguero, then there's your captain sorted. So I don't think you have to worry that much about.
Yeah.
Because Sanchez is obviously a captain choice, a better captain choice over Ozil.
Yeah.
But if you've got Aguero, then you shouldn't need to worry.
No, absolutely, and he more transfers than anyone else this week. So everyone, is getting on board with Ozil. Not in huge numbers, but he's certainly the most popular signing this week. you've got to take notice. I think at that price, rate my team, rates him as a top mid for the next 6 game weeks. Everything's pointing to the fact that you get Ozil. I'm looking at it and going, well, I'm going to keep Manny for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to try and get Ozil in a couple of weeks. By then, he'll probably be 9 million. But even at 9 million, I think he's worth it.
It's difficult then. I mean, how are you going to be able to fund Aguero unless...
I'm not going to get Aguero.
Right. You're going to sit on De Bruyne for a while.
I think so. I think while there are people like Pele and Lukaku Pele and Lukaku will get a goal every other game.
Yeah.
So I know that Aguero's capable of getting a goal a game, but the money that Aguero, the extra 5 million, I can get, hopefully compensate for that elsewhere. And plus, I just don't want to trust that hamstring over Christmas. I worry about it. It's probably a mistake, but I think what I might do to try and rescue my season, which sounds odd, I'm going to rescue my season by not getting Sergio Aguero. Yeah. We'll see if it's another gamble. It's like a Payet-like gamble. It's like the Hazard choice that I took. I tried to go with Hazard, that didn't work, but we'll see. I think I've got to try something different. I think so. I might get Aguero in my wild card in January, but perhaps not before that. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, but Ozil, are you looking at him, Jonty?
Yeah, definitely. He's exactly the kind of player I like. Really consistent, boringly consistent. Basically, I got Juan Mata in 3 weeks ago, thinking he was going to be Ozil because he was actually coming into that spell with great form.
He hit the bad spell,
and it just didn't happen. I could get Ozil in now, but this brings us to our next topic: 5-man midfields. So, I mean, I'm looking to bench Mata this week. I have no faith in Man U. But if I did Mata to Ozil, well, who's going to be on the bench? Mahrez again? That's not going to happen. So Johnny 10 asks us, 5-man midfielders. The Aguero money has given lots of us lots of options. It's easy to bench the wrong player. Most will probably play Mahrez and bench perhaps Payet or Mata, and which could also lead to another shocker. He's right, and it could. So I mean, Granville, I don't know. You've got a 5-man midfield and you're benching a striker, but are you a bit worried?
I don't know. I bench Mahrez. I have to have a look, but I think I benched him for all his low scores up until this week when I sold him for a high score. But all those low scores he got for the before he got the 15 points, I benched him. So he can be done, and you just got to time it right and just not just hide behind the settee.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I've got Ayew rotates home and away with Mahrez, but the trouble with that is you can't say Mahrez away from home isn't a good bet, as we've just seen.
This is the trouble, though. Once you've been stung by something, it's to say the opposite is true as well. Because with Ayoze, I've kept him because he got that goal and assist in that game against Norwich. And you have I was attached to him then, and I didn't really want to. I thought I've got to give him a bit of loyalty because he gave me the points. It's the same thing when it's the opposite way, when you kind of you miss out on points because you've gone and benched him. You think, I'm never going to do that again. But then he'll just serve up a 2-pointer or something.
Granville, you might be interested. The latest person to go on my goals imminent table is Perez. He creeps in just at the bottom, so his goals are imminent.
That's it. Sow the seeds of doubt. I
think I'm gonna bench him this week. Oh, there you go. There's every chance that he'll.
That's the way to do it.
Do so. And he's got a decent. He's got. Who's he playing? He's got. Newcastle. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd bench him.
Bournemouth only conceded 12 goals in the last 3, so don't worry about that, Granville.
It's just Newcastle. They huffed and puffed at the weekend and couldn't score, couldn't get past Butland.
No, absolutely. I mean, they're firing in shots. So, Jonty, the front 8 is the way to go, isn't it? I mean, because of Aguero, we've just got 8 players, really good, and we've always got a bench one. That's just the way it is. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got Aguero, I think you have to, in order to get a good team, you've got to have like a Westwood or someone like that, a cheap 5th midfielder. But if Aguero's not in the picture, I think it's good to have this. Now, I'm a veteran of having 8-man midfielders. Remember Jason Punchin's points I benched spectacularly last season. Houlihan as well, I managed to miss out on. Even he has been an annoying 8-man attack. So I'm used to it. You've got to take the rough with the smooth. There's been lots of talk on the website this week about this, and lots of people were saying actually they didn't mind the bench points as much as getting rid of a player, because at least that player on the bench was someone they could bring in for the next game week, and also they were making money on him rather than losing money. they were more worried if their bench was just hemorrhaging cash, and that's a slight silver lining. Personally, I looked at 15 points on my bench this week and hated it, but it was nice to see that.
But the thing is, what's ironic is a couple of weeks ago, it might even be last time out, I was saying the all-out attack chip, well, useless. No one needs that. But actually, we could do with it every week at the moment because it's the way our teams are all set up with a front eight.
You could have done with it last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, week in, week out now, I look at it and I'm going to have this problem unless I get Aguero in. I don't know if I want to. So, yeah, I mean, it's a problem. I think if you've got 8 good attacking players, which a lot of people have, you're just going to have to suck it up, aren't you, and not beat yourself up when you get it wrong, like Jonty and I did, and obviously Granville did in spectacular style. You just got to pick yourself up and hope you get it right the following week. And you know, Doozer's testament to it. You know, you roll the dice, you win some weeks, you lose others.
I actually feel less bad selling not even having Mahrez on my bench, looking at his 15 points.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Until this week.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's just psychological that you were so close to having those 15 points. I was a bit further away than you because I actually sold him.
Yeah, you feel good now. You won't feel good at 5-3 on Saturday.
Watching his 15 points in everyone's team next week.
Yeah, that's the problem. Last question then, Johnson.
Goalkeepers. Goalkeepers here. So Zoffa asks, the goalkeeper position has become an interesting differential this year. Indeed, it has. Increased bonus points. We are seeing a lot of bonus points for goalkeepers. Jack Butland, the latest to get a double-digit score this week, and of course,
same on game week. Yeah,
I think that wasn't surprising. I think that wasn't surprising considering he made about 6 saves. He was outstanding.
But he also asks about premium goalkeepers. So we're getting these cheap ones doing the business. But what about Czech, De Gea as well? The 5.5, so they're representing value. Go to Granville first. I mean, what's your take on goalkeepers?
I don't like to spend any more than 5 million on a goalkeeper. As simple as that. I'd rather just not have the. I mean, the thing is, you just lose the flexibility then, because you not only do because you get 5.5 keeper is going to be someone from one of the big sides as well. It just means that you can never treble up on attack, or get you're short then. And if they have an easy looking home game, then you're thinking, well, God, I've only got 2. It can happen. It's happened a couple of times to me that have been restricted. The other thing is that there's with Myhill and who else have we got? Butland, Gomez. So there are options. I know they have tough. I know Watford's fixtures aren't great, and West Brom's are particularly bad. But I'm not going to go that route. I don't think. I did look at it. I was just thinking about De Gea. Yeah. I think he'd be the prime target, or maybe Czech. But I think with Czech you've got Bellerin, who's I think the better option, or Koscielny even. But I think with United, I think De Gea it's the same price. It's 5.5, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, De Gea's the one. De Gea's top of the watch list, and I think we're all debating about Smalling. Well, Smalling's 6'5", or if you don't go Smalling, you have to go Royo or Jones, and it's.
Rough.
And I'm not surprised. And Smalling at 6'5", United defender at 6'5", got goal threat, but I think that's a bit much. Whereas De Gea 5'5", I think that's a good option. I think he's the standout one. But I agree with you. It's very difficult to spend a lot of money on a keeper because there's no attacking points there, and yes, there's more bonus around this year, but the ones getting bonus are the ones in the struggling teams.
You'll very rarely get like an 11-pointer off someone like De Gea or Czech or Begovic or any of the big teams because they're not going to make as many saves. It's just and if they don't make as many saves, then they're less likely to get the bonus.
But also, even if they do make the saves, they're in a team where attacking players are going to get the bonus because they've won the match. Whereas if you look at Butland and you look at Myhill, they're playing in front of a Stoke and West Brom attack who aren't full of superstars and aren't going to get bonus points because they're not scoring goals and assists. So and same for Gomez and Watford. The trouble is, Myhill and Butland have got terrible fixtures coming up. Gomez is the better option out of those 3. The fixtures aren't bad for Watford. So, in fact, they're pretty good. So, I think there's always a budget option available which supersedes the option like De Gea, for me.
I think Watford are actually quite good. They're better than It's just a United game, and United not good. It's Liverpool on game week 17, and then they've got they've got Chelsea, so they have actually got a tough run.
If you call Chelsea tough. Jonty, there's a community article on keepers, and you've just gone out, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was actually, it's part of Bowstring the Carp, one of our community writers. He does this wonderful thing every month. He just does a roundup of the month. It's fantastic, and he looks back at the players that have been doing ever so well, players to get in, and he's looked at goalkeepers. Top scoring goalkeeper Jack Butland of Stoke, 24 points. That's a pretty good return over October. Petr Cech. And David De Gea, 23, so just behind it. So he's outscoring it for a bit more. He notes that Wayne Hennessy's got 15 points from tough fixtures for Palace.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Today is interesting.
Palace's fixtures get better.
Yeah, they're very strong. And actually, I was thinking Speroni was going to come in and threaten Hennessy, but today there's a story about Newcastle coming in for Speroni on loan because they've got an injury crisis. And maybe Hennessy's just nailed that now. Maybe he is first choice, and I've been keeping him out the watch list because I'm not sure. But actually, looking at Palace's fixtures, I think Hennessy, he could be the option. He's 3-9. I mean, you talk about, there you go. There's your money, Granville. Yeah. You've got to love that option, haven't you?
You know what? I didn't even know until you mentioned him. I did look last week actually him, and I thought the same as you. I thought, is it really worth it? I've got McCarthy. I've been stung with that. Now he's not playing. I need a second keeper now. I require a second keeper really, but I hadn't really considered him seriously. Probably because he's only 3-9.
Well, this is interesting because at the moment we've got Danny Simpson at Leicester at 3-9 and Hennessy at Palace at 3-9. Now, getting those players in, you never really often get transfers where you go, you've got the luxury of making those. But if you had two transfers and you're in a situation where, okay, I don't know what to do, getting those two in and getting some cash in the bank would be a good option. Leicester and Palace, obviously, maybe not going to keep too many clean sheets, or Palace have firmed right up.
I'm just looking now, actually, at Hennessy, just looking at his saves. He's only had a maximum of 2 saves in any match.
Yeah, well, Palace have tightened right up, and so but I think at 3-9 he's a good option now because it doesn't look as though Speroni's going to get back in, which I had doubts about. Jonty, how do you feel about the kids?
I'm very happy with Jack Butland. He's staying. At the moment, I'm not rotating because I'm not bothering with John Ruddy. There's no point playing him. He's not getting clean sheets. He's not doing anything spectacular like Myhill and Butland. I'm tempted. I mean, goalkeeper transfer is always the last thing you want to do. But if I was minded to, I would definitely be doing that. Get 0.5 million back in the bank and get Hennessy in. I've already got Ward as well, but I do fancy Palace's chances of clean sheets.
I think if I'm going to go for one, I'm going to go for Gomez. I think all in all because I've got Ward, and also I'm still not 100% sure that Hennessy's going to be number one. Gomez makes a lot more saves as well, so I think he's worth the outlay. It's just the one transfer. You have to spend one transfer and changing a keeper when you've already got. I've already got Myhill. It's a luxury, isn't it? That that you don't have to actually. I just play him every week, and he's been getting the clean sheets. It's just now hitting this bad run of form. Do you think he can keep it up?
No, I think Myhill away from home.
Bad run of fixture. Sorry.
Myhill away from home, good option, but at home they've conceded 3 goals 4 times now. They've got a problem at the Hawthorns, obviously because they've got to come out a bit more. I don't know. I think Butland, the fixtures are pretty bad, not dreadful. He's got Chelsea at home, Southampton away, Sunderland away, Man City at home. You're not going to get clean sheets there, but you will get save points because he's making an unfathomable save. So I suppose, but I'm looking at Hennessy. If I have a kind of vanity transfer, if you like, Hennessy in for McCarthy to get me 0-1 looks a good choice at the moment. Talking of transfers, let's move on to this game week. Jonty, what have you got in mind? Surely Mata out, isn't it, or is it Darmian?
No, Mata. Well, no, I've got my front 8. You see, so who's going to be benched this week? It's going to be Mata's turn this week. He's the one with no form. I'll be looking to probably get Moreno in for Darmian, and I'm going to mention another community writer if I can. I keep mentioning this week, but there's Sargent has an article out tomorrow. Looking at team form. He's got loads of colour coding as well, so if you're not good with words and like pictures, it's quite good. But basically there's only one team that he considers very strong in attack against a very poor in defence happening this weekend in fixtures. That's City against Villa. So in terms of captaincy, I'm looking at either De Bruyne or Bonney. And that's me. How about you, Granville? What are you up to this weekend?
I'm just looking at my back four, and I really...
It's a disaster zone, Granville.
It is not. It isn't really. I've got Van Dijk. I've got Van Dijk, who's obviously excellent. Zuma, Ward and Zuma, those are the ones going to play. But I'm actually concerned about Zuma now because it's just that Chelsea really needed a better right back than Zuma. Zuma's just filling in there. And they've got one, as pick and play there. I don't know why Mourinho is insisting on playing him still on the left.
Because he knows he can't. I think if Zuma doesn't play right back, he still plays. I think he's going to have to drop.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know. Because
also Stoke, he's not going to not play Zuma. He needs the height, doesn't he? So against Stoke, there's the whole. Even though Pulis isn't there anymore, you still don't play. You still need set piece threat and protect against set piece.
I think you're right. I think that's why he's always played Ivanovic there. You know, who's really is a centre back. Because he likes the height, but Zuma has, he's been at fault for a couple of the goals that they've let.
I don't know.
He has just been out of position. He's just not a right back.
No worse than Ivanovic.
Couldn't get forward at all. Yeah, at least Ivanovic was getting forward. Maybe he learnt to play, and maybe Zuma will learn to play there.
I think Zuma will play at Stoke.
Well, I just I think there is a little bit of doubt there. I've just noticed actually, Johnsy, that Ward's gone down. It's the first time I've noticed. Did you know that he's gone down?
He's 4-4, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I would have played him at the weekend, but he was flagged as an injury down. I think that was part of it. But I think his price will go up again. I think he's going to.
I've got Richards, who was. Was he suspended for the game on Monday?
Yeah, so we've all got Richards, who's just going to stink up our teams forever, isn't he? I just think we're always going to have other transfers to make, and we're never going to play Mika Richards, I think.
No, well, I have played him, and I regretted it. But Darmian, he's obviously not playing this weekend. Is he the one to get rid of? Probably. That might be the one to do. I'll either do that or save, because I think as Aguero is going to become available shortly, it would be really handy to have two transfers at the point at which you get him, because you're going to need to sell. You're going to need to enable him by selling someone more expensive like De Bruyne or Sanchez. If it went Sanchez down to Ozil, and then upgrade one of the strikers.
You're going
not Marshall, of course.
No, not of course. Hang on to Tony. Yeah, do that. That's my route back to catching you up. The longer you hold on to Anthony, the better for me. Okay, so what about captain, Granville? Are you just going to play De Bruyne, are you?
I don't know. I might be a maverick and do Mane. I almost captured him this week, actually, which would have been which should have been had an even worse score. But I think it'd be De Bruyne or what about Sanchez?
I know. Game of goals, Tottenham Arsenal. He's in a lull at the moment, but he can come out of it, can't he? So Sanchez, I think, is a good option.
I think I'm only looking at that because they're playing on Sunday, and I hate it when your captain has failed on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then you're worried about all these captains coming in. Like this week, it was Pele and Mane and Kane and Lukaku, and all these captains were coming in on the Sunday when ours had basically failed. It's frustrating. I prefer it to be the other way around. So I'm going to actually consider, just for that reason alone, captaining Sanchez.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm thinking of doing. I'm going to hold Kolarov for one more week, although I am worried about him now in rotation with Clichy. Now Clichy's back on the bench. I think Kolarov will play, but I think because of Kolarov maybe being a doubt, I've got to get another defender in for Elphick, who's been injured, and he's just going to go down in price. He's going to be like 1.2 by the time I get rid of him otherwise. So I've got to get rid of Elphick, and I've got money in the bank. I could go Bellerin, and perhaps that is the most sensible route. But what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking of following Andy's lead and going crazy on Leicester and going Jeffrey Schlupp, just because I love Jeffrey Schlupp. They're at home to Watford, and then I don't know. I just think that they're attacking so much, and he played left back at the weekend because Fuchs was out. But I think that Fuchs will come back in at the weekend because it was just a precaution, and he's been playing really well. So he's allowed Ranieri to play Schlupp up front or number 10 or left wing, and I just think, he's had more. I looked at it, and in the 3 game weeks he played left wing, he's had more shots than any other defender. 5 million, Andy got him, and Andy knows what he's doing. Yeah. So I might gamble on Schlupp.
Yeah, no, I did look at it myself because I've got Schlupp in the dugout game, and every time he's done anything this season, I've had him on the bench, and he's quite versatile because he can play in two positions. So I've been playing him defence, but I could. It's the same with Sterling as well. I've got those two players who can play in two positions. It's really handy. But I've missed out on all his points so far. He hasn't had that many, but he scored a goal, and I know he was on the bench.
Yeah, but I just think with the fixtures they got, the next two are home to Watford, and then they're away at Newcastle. And those two defences, if he's playing left wing, which I think he will, then there's 3 or 4 goals in those 2 games easy. So he'll get something, and you never know. There might be pizza on Claudio again. Who knows?
There might be what?
Pizza. He buys a pizza if they keep a clean sheet every time, doesn't he? So they may get a clean sheet home to Leicester, home to Newcastle rather. And home to Watford. Watford, I mean, good away from home. Who knows? I just think Schlupp's a gamble worth taking. We'll see. That's me. It's a bit crazy, but there's Granville getting rid of Mahrez, and I'm getting in 3 Leicester players. I've got to come up with something to catch you. 35 points. You're within range now. I fancy my chances. You're making mistakes, Granville. So.
Well, we'll see. Things change. Things change very, very quickly.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see indeed. I'm just going to copy Andy. Andy eventually gets it right. It might take a couple of weeks. He got Schlupp in a couple of weeks ago. I think his time is coming, so that's what I might do. We'll see if that brings me luck. John T, it's been a pleasure as always. Granville, I'm sorry about your game week, but I'm sure you'll recover this time around. Just keep hold of Tony, and and that'll be my route back into this. It's a good night for me.
Good night.
And good night from me.